That looks like a good movie, doesn't it?
Yep.
Wow, I wish I had seen that in the movie theaters, but I've seen it so many times on television, and it's just an honor to bring out on this stage. I told her backstage that we have all been waiting on her for years, and she said, "Really?" Show her. Barbara Eden.
I get to sit down?
Oh, okay. We will sit down.
All right.
I've been here all day. I have to sit down now. It is just so great. You're one of those names that I see our fans, and we talk about who we'd love to have come to Graceland, and you're right there at the top of the list, and to have you here, and to talk about Elvis and this movie that was so important, I think, to Elvis.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
And it's with what's been going on in the world, this is a chance for you to get out too. Right?
You betcha. First time in 2 years I've been out. Well, I did one other show. Yeah. Before this.
But on a plane to Memphis.
Yeah. It was lovely. It was nice.
Yeah. That says a little bit about how much you love Elvis and that experience of working with him. Just a little bit about this movie. It came out in December of 1960 from 20th Century Fox, as we saw, and it came out only 4 weeks after GI Blues, which Elvis had made when he got right out of the Army. So by the end of 1960, when he gets out of the Army, in March, he's already got 2 movies in the theater. And this, a challenge for him, a dramatic role, and an opportunity for you as a young, upcoming actress in Hollywood as well.
Yes, indeed. It was, but he was wonderful, wonderful in the part.
Yeah.
It was his second film, and of course we always kind of laughed afterwards because he played a half-breed, he got killed, he didn't get the girl, and he didn't sing.
Yeah.
You know, and that was not good.
Yeah.
So they brought us back, and he did that one song in the kitchen. But he was a fabulous natural actor, and he had a great work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
He really enjoyed doing a serious part, and that was certainly a serious part. I think he could have done so much more, because his talent was huge.
Yeah.
It wasn't just music. He was a good actor. When he had a good script, you know.
Exactly. People talk about his presence, and you can see on screen, I don't think he ever looked better than he looked in your film.
Well, no, he looked wonderful. You know. But he was so real.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing phony about him. He was a very sincere, real person. And I remember the first day I came on the set, he ran and got me a chair. Now, actors don't do that. You know, you could fall on the floor and they'd walk by you. But no, he was a gentleman, he was well-bred. His mommy brought him up right. She really did. He was lovely.
Southern John.
Yes, he was. He was just, and very, how can I explain it? He was so human. and quite often, you know, in our field, you meet people that they don't let you see what they really are, you know, and he did. He was very open and sincere about everything.
And he came up to you when he met you for the first time, and he was a huge fan of your then husband, Michael and Sarah.
Yeah, well, I laughed because I think I'm the only leading lady that worked opposite him that they didn't make a big fuss over us having an affair, because we didn't. But we were buddies, and he loved Michael and Sarah. I don't know how many of you remember him.
Yeah.
He was Cochise in The Broken Arrow, and he was very popular at the time. Elvis, I said, how do you have time to watch television? And he said, well, you know, I'm really trapped in a hotel room. So that's all I do is watch television. Felt kind of sad about it.
Yeah.
And I really didn't, excuse me, understand what he was saying until I began to work singing again and was appearing in Vegas, and I realized, yeah, you are. You don't dare to go out of your hotel room because there's so many people down in the casino, and you know. I remember I used to drive out to Lake Mead just to look and see. There's water. There's a beautiful place to stare at. Then I'd go back to the casino and do my 2 shows a night.
Movies are hard enough to make also, but you're on, not just in a movie studio with Elvis, you guys are out on location shooting a Western. I mean,
Oh my goodness, that was, first of all, I really didn't know how to ride a horse. So they brought me out when Elvis was shooting, and all the men all of them knew how to ride a horse. And the wranglers would take me out with the horse and show me what to do and which side to get up on and all that. And then it came the day at the end of the movie. There was this film after poor Elvis had died, you know, in the movie. And Clint, his brother, was up on the top of this hillside, and I was to ride the horse, fast, up the mountain, and we ended it in the sunset, looking out, you know, reminiscing. So the guys got me on my horse, and we were sitting there, and I said, you know, there's an irrigation ditch over there. And they said, oh, that's all right. The horse knows what to do. Does Barbara know what to do? So the horse did know what to do, thank God. We raced over the thing and then up the mountain, and all of a sudden I heard Barbara, duck, duck! And there was this big tree with a big branch sticking out, and I looked and I went, ducked, up to the top of the hill. Then I had to come down. Now I don't know how many of you know how to ride a horse, but I had never been on one before, this thing. And the horse goes like this, and you're looking out as you go down the mountain. And I was so frightened after the irrigation ditch and the tree and I was just shaking. I got off the horse, walked around a little bit, and they said, okay, get back up, we're gonna do another take. Oh, so what did I do? I tried to get on the wrong side of the horse. I tried to get up one thing. And we did it, and it was okay after that. But oh my Lord, I have never been so frightened in my life.
You have to know a little bit of everything to be an actor. Riding horses and all kinds of things.
Yes, and you never say you can't do it.
Right.
Especially when you're young and you're trying to get started. You say you ride a horse. Oh, sure. Of course I do. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Now this movie, it was, Elvis's second movie back from the Army in 1960, and it was very early in your career, but you had actually had some earlier work on some things, and you got to work with another icon legend on I Love Lucy, and had a wonderful experience. So you knew what it was like to be around a legend, and had a wonderful experience.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
Lucy.
she was wonderful. That was my, I can't tell you how wonderful she was to me. Because it was my third job. And the show just before I worked with Lucy, I had worked with another well-known actress who I adored. And then I came on the set and she was a little upset with how young I was. And they probably shouldn't have cast me for that part, but they did. And she marched out of her dressing room, got right in front of me, looked me up, looked me down, and turned around and walked away. Not a hello, how are you, or anything. So when I worked with Lucy, I thought, okay, I'll just smile. I'll just keep things happy, and I will keep my mouth shut. But no, Lucy was lovely. She made sure that my costume was, you know, I was playing a sexy little cousin of hers, and she made sure my dress was right. One day she said, "Barbara, come on over here." I said, "Uh-oh." "You like that dress?" I said, "Oh, yes, yes." I wasn't going to not like anything, believe me. And she said, "Take it off." So I thought, oh gosh, you know, here we go. Nope. She and her secretary sat there and they punched those, I don't know, grommets or whatever that sparkle on the dress to make it look prettier. Now that was Lucy. She was just a love.
Yeah, and then you're lucky enough to get on that set with Elvis, and you know, when you look, because I'm a student of classic Hollywood. I grew up watching all these wonderful films and looking at names and credits and seeing what else they directed. Your director on this film was Don Siegel, who later, I mean, he had already directed Invasion of the Body Snatchers in the 50s. So he had sci-fi, he's doing a Western with you, and then a few years later he does Dirty Harry with Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
And directs John Wayne's last picture, The Shootist. So you were working with a Hollywood legend there also, with Don Siegel, who seems like a rough and tumble, take no prisoners kind of director.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
He was wonderful. We were so lucky to have him for that show. And I've forgotten who wrote the book. But he was...
It is, well, I know the book is called Flaming Lance, was the name of the book.
Was that?
So the book's called Flaming Lance, and they changed it to
Flaming Star.
Flaming Star, but first it was Black Star.
Oh, was it?
It was Black Star.
Oh, my.
And Elvis recorded the song, and they didn't like that, so Elvis went back and he had to record it as Flaming Star. So
Oh my goodness,
at least
I
they
didn't
got
know-
the
I
Flaming
didn't know
Lance
that. I
in
didn't
there a
know
little
that.
bit. But it was based on a book.
Yeah.
And you guys
Which is
are on location, spending time, and the one thing that happens on sets, even in sound stages, there's a lot of downtime. But on a movie being shot on location where you're waiting on clouds and jets to fly over, there's a lot of downtime. Do you remember any conversations?
Oh my goodness, yes, we had many,
Yeah.
many conversations. We, because he was so easy to talk to, and he had his friend, and he had his guitar with him, and his daddy, and they would sing, and we'd talk, and you know, it's the first time I heard about Priscilla, but I didn't know her name. He asked, because he would ask me, Michael, my then husband, and I had a very good marriage, and we both worked and understood the industry. And Elvis was a little worried about that. He said, how do you keep a marriage together when there's so much pressure and so much, you know? And I said, well, it's a job. This is how we make our living, so we just do it. And he said, well, I met this girl in Germany. And he said, I really love her a lot, but I'm a little afraid to bring her back here with all this. Well, you know what goes on. You don't know, but we know what goes on. And I said, well, you just, if you love each other, you'll make it do. And then I learned, but I had no idea how young she was. He didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Oh boy, and such a pretty girl.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And the thing that happened with this movie, and it was followed by Wild in the Country, which was already kind of in pre-production when this movie came out. What happened, unfortunately for Elvis's career, G.I. Blues is a huge success, soundtrack album, huge success. Flaming Star doesn't do as well because there's really no singing.
Because he didn't sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was,
and he died.
And he died. I mean, it was a triple threat of things happening here. And then Wild in the Country, which again showed his acting ability, is not as big a success as the previous movies had been. And then it's back to the next movie is Blue Hawaii, and then it just takes off to that. And he never really had that challenge again. And that's really, we hear from all people that worked with him as an actor is that he was a professional, he knew his lines, he was always wanting to learn, and he was always seeking that better role.
And it was more than know his lines. He just was the part that he was playing.
Yeah.
He was a natural. And I always thought it was so sad that he wasn't able to continue on with his acting.
Yeah.
You know, but he loved to sing. You know, I don't think you could keep him singing. Later on, I had an act in the MGM Grand, and I think Elvis was up at the Riviera of the Strip. And my husband, Mike, in between shows came to me and said, "Barbara, you've got to go see Elvis." And I said, "I can't. You know, I usually don't do anything when I'm singing. I stay there." He said, "You've got to come, you've got to come." I'm so glad I did. He was thrilling. I mean, really. All those guitars, you know, on stage with him. And then his singing, I just, well, I can't even breathe when I'm thinking about it right now. Wow. So talented. Such a talented soul, really.
Yeah, and by that time, you know, you had quite the career and quite the name. And, you know, as you're sitting here in front of me, I have to say that it's only a few years after you're working with Elvis that you get a TV role that kind of changes your life and our lives too. You find some way to get in a Jeannie's bottle and. I never knew what Tony Nelson's problem was having a Jeannie. I couldn't. But you worked with, I believe, two of the best sitcom actors, and Larry went on to prove what a great dramatic actor he was. But Larry Hagman and Bill Daly, I'm a huge Bill Daly fan. And to have those two with you, it just must have been, you know, tough hours, long hours. But you guys seem to always have a friendship that carried on through the years.
Well,
you even guested on Dallas later on.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But I also worked with Larry during his last days in Australia, and I went to Germany with him because he was doing something. I'd forgotten what in Germany, but I was there with him. And that was the last I saw of him. That's another one that should still be with us, really. Yeah.
I think it was fitting that he was working on Dallas, though. He was playing JR.
Yeah.
When he passed away.
Well, he really knew that character, you know, because
Oh,
he was raised in Texas, and his daddy and his brother were both attorneys in Texas, and so he knew those guys.
And then, you know, in the Elvis world, everything connects. So, Larry, you work with Elvis, Larry works with you, Larry gets Dallas, you guest on Dallas, Priscilla guest stars on Dallas for 5 seasons. So it all kind of connects through.
It does,
you know?
it does.
But looking at Flaming Star now and in your career and looking at all the great roles you had, can you believe, and you've worked with all kinds of legends, that here we sit 45 years after we haven't seen Elvis, and he's got the #1 soundtrack album, opened #1 at the box office with his life story, and here we sit 45 years later at this massive complex across the street from Graceland.
Well, he deserves it.
Woo! Woo!
And we have someone coming up in just a moment that, again, showbiz, it's just everything, you know, works together. And our next gentleman was a singer and an actor. And when you're a singer and an actor, you take on roles where perhaps you're called on to kiss your co-star. And this gentleman had made many movies, but none of the roles required being kissed or kissing on screen until he made a little movie called All Hands on Deck in 1961, and his Pat Boone's first screen kiss.
It's not only the screen kiss. I think I was the first kiss other than Shirley, his wife. So, the day we did the kiss, Shirley was there, and all 4 daughters. Talk about pressure.
You're breaking up this home. Well, it's been so wonderful to have you here. We thank you for getting out.
Thank you.
And coming
I've
here
so enjoyed it.
come here to share the stories of a guy that we love, and
Well, I love
we
it.
love the movies. We really do. And Flaming Star is a special one, even if you only got to sing one song together.
Well, I didn't sing in the show.
You were all dancing, though.
I hopped around, but I'm not sure it was dancing.
Well, Richard Jekyll was dancing with a chair, so at least you got off better than that.
Right.
It's great to have you here.
Thank
and
you.
Everybody, she made it.
That's so cute. Did you get a good picture of her?